there's this awkward conversation. Well, the food is but we're eating, right? And I mean, it was pretty much Chinese food like we know.
Sure.
And there's just shrimp and lobster and chicken and meats and soups and dumplings and all this. And it's going around the table. And there's only so much you can eat. And I'm eventually looking over at Morishima, who's, these wrestlers, these aren't really huge guys, but they can eat.
Right.
And they're hungry, and they're like getting stuff, and Kenta looks at me and he like points, and goes,
Carrie's gesticulating to please keep eating.
So
this reminds me of the great Calhoun in Saugus. They treat us right there. But
so we're there, and it's like I'm getting stuffed, and then Ken says, "Carrie, stand up, please."
Oh, no.
I'm like, why? He goes, just stand up. And he goes, Mr. Narita wants to give you a gift. I'm like, he doesn't have to give me. He goes, and Sid's like, shut up, just take it. Right? So I stand up, and Mr. Narita stands up, and you've seen it.
I've seen it. We have a photo with it.
Right. He hands me this, it's in brown paper. I didn't know what it was. And I say to Ken, I said, what should I do? He goes, oh, you open it. So I open it, and it was a lovely limited edition painting by a famous Japanese artist. It was just very odd. And you've dealt with the Japanese before. When you get into that awkward moment where you thank them and you bow, and they bow, and you bow, and they bow,
and you try and shake their hand, and then you realize it's the bow.
But it's a bowing fest.
Yes, yeah, and no one wants to stop because no one wants to. Yeah.
So I'm like,
you just described me and Takahashi's relationship.
Oh, beautiful! It's beautiful, wonderful, right? So it finally, and then they want dessert. All right, fine. So now we're eating ice cream and whatever. So,
what flavor does Kenta get? Do you remember?
I don't remember. Okay. Probably vanilla.
I just wanted to throw you a loop there. Please.
So it's finally time to leave. Finally. And although, it was very nice, except for the fact that, I knew that I was facing a tremendous financial beating for this weekend.
Yeah.
So as we're leaving, Ken says, Sid, Carrie, Mr. Narita wants to talk to you outside.
Oh, no.
I'm like, so we go to the van.
Do you have anxiety now?
A little bit.
Okay.
So Sid and I are in the back. Rue is in the front. Ken acquiesced, and the wrestlers knew not to get in.
Interesting.
And Mr. Narita gets in the front, and he turns around, and he hands us 2 large envelopes. Like when you at the bank kind of envelopes.
You take out money.
Right, but these are stuffed.
Really?
And I'm just like, oh, thank you, Mr. Narita. Well, I hope, we'll see you in, New York, at Final. You don't have to, Ken's just like, Carrie, just take it. So I'm like, what's going on here? So it was like $30,000.
What?
Yeah, like $15,000 in each envelope.
Holy crap!
I don't know what Mr. Narita did. My worry was like maybe I'm indebted to this guy in some way.
Right.
But Ken assured me that this is a gift, and and I think this was expressed in the car before he left. When we didn't know the amount he'd given us. Mr. Narita knows that you had a bad time with Dragon Gate, and he's a big fan.
Wow.
And he's a generous man, and he loves Noah, Pro Wrestling Noah, and he loves Ring of Honor. And It's his gift to you.
Wow.
And we're like, fortunately, we were in the back seats. So I didn't have to go into the bowing routine. But we shook his hand, and we went into the night. And now I'm with Ken and Rue, and I'm like, what's Ken? And Rue spoke English. He just
Yeah.
Rue just said, just take it. So
Amazing.
it basically covered the weekend